You're listening to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro, where we share topics that will inspire business growth and help you stay ahead of advances in technology before they become mainstream. This episode is sponsored by Ingram Micro Xvantage, the game-changing platform that will transform your business potential and reshape how customers see you. On this episode of B2B Tech Talk, we are joined by Brian Russell, Senior Manager of Ingram Micro's Security Incident Response Team. Brian has been with Ingram for just short of a year, but prior to that, he retired from a 28-year law enforcement career that included 22 and a half years with the federal government as a special agent for the U.S. Secret Service and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. On this episode, we're going to talk about his digital forensics experience, and we look forward to hearing what Brian has to say. Welcome to the show, Brian. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much.
I have to tell you, Brian, you've had such a storied career in the public sector, in law enforcement. First, I want to thank you so much for your service. Why the move to private sector and why now?
Well, kind of just a new challenge. You spend some time. I was fortunate to get in early. I was fortunate to be one of those people that knew what I wanted to do with my life, and and got in and got to retirement eligibility, and then had no idea what I wanted to do. So this opportunity popped up, and it was a nice change of pace to do something. Similar that aligned with my skill set, but yet provided a vast amount of new challenges and new steps forward. So I'm really excited to be here.
Well, and also welcome to Ingram Micro. You've been here now how many months?
About 9 months. About nine
9
months.
months. Wow. Well, we're so glad that you're here. Going back to data forensics, what kinds of scenarios in your career, what types of scenarios or crimes would you typically be investigating?
Well, that's the most interesting part of the whole thing, really. So, data forensics and every agency I've worked for in the past investigates something a little bit differently, a different type of criminal activity, and I can speak to that just because that's my background. But um, every everything today, it's so ubiquitous. All of the devices, the phones we carry around, the laptops and computers, everything is done on computers these days. So it doesn't really matter whether it's a financial crime, whether it's an import-export violation, whether it's a malware or infection or a cyber crime, what you would think of as a traditional cyber crime. There's a digital evidence component, and from the financial crimes we investigated, the Secret Service that obviously had bank implications and wire fraud implications, all the way through to rangers out in preserves in Africa that are stopping poachers that have cell phones on them. It runs the gamut of investigations, and it's everywhere. So it really, the answer is everything. Everything has a digital component these days.
Yeah, I even heard, like, even in divorce cases, they're using digital forensics as well,
Absolutely.
unfortunately.
Unfortunately, but absolutely. It's all around us.
Now, you also spent some time with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. You were based in Florida. But when I think of USFWS, I think of where I go to get my fishing license. Uh, what do they do?
Well, it's interesting. I had much the thought process myself. I had the opportunity to go there and be a full-time forensics agent, and as such, we supported global investigations. I've had the opportunity to acquire data from an X-ray machine in at the airport in Tanzania, in support of an ivory smuggling case where they're smuggling elephant tusks, all the way to hunting cases in the United States where someone would go out to a western state and hunt something illegally and transport it back to another state. In the interstate commerce, interstate travel within the U.S., and provide support for whether it was geolocation data, information off of pictures, um, that provided information to the investigators that supported their cases, that allowed them to continue those cases. It's really, again, just such a wide variety of issues. I can't stress enough, it's everywhere with us. It's GPS with our phones and our vehicles. It's everything you're doing online. It's so ubiquitous. It's all around us that it's just that one little piece of information that may put that little bit of evidence that may put it over the top.
It's fascinating, and I didn't realize that the Fish and Wildlife Service did so much. I didn't realize that they did that as well, but it does make sense. All right, I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curveball here. What do you think about AI and the implications of AI and digital forensics?
It's such I hate to say that it's new. It's not new per se, but it's an interesting feature, right? AI, like anything else in our world, I think has the ability to help and has the ability to hinder. And I think navigating that is going to be going forward is going to be the most important part for both, our company and really every company and every government and every aspect across the world. But you see that in the news today. The government is deciding what they can do with what they should do with AI. All companies are deciding how they should use it and where they should use it. Like anything else, computer related, we used to say these things about computers, about how they could be dangerous, how they could be not helpful. It's the same. It's a tool like anything else, and it's just finding the correct path and the correct use for that tool is probably where it's gonna lay, how that's gonna come out. But it can be helpful and it can be a hindrance. It's kind of yet to be determined.
I guess they used to say that about the internet too.
I used to say that about the internet. Absolutely.
So, if you were starting your career today, would you have taken a different path?
I really wouldn't. I knew what I wanted to do for a long time. I investigated a lot of different things, but coming out and entering law enforcement for me was just it was a natural fit for me. I really enjoyed it. It's taken me to places that I never would have been, and it's ended up bringing me here to Ingram Micro. So I have no complaints.
Very good. Well, you have a presentation that's coming out, it's highly anticipated, on digital forensics, the digital crime scene. Can you give us a little bit of a preview?
Sure. You're gonna, we're gonna talk a little bit about, what digital forensics is. We're gonna talk about what it means to you and what it means to the company and how how you can help, how everyone can help, whether you're a digital forensic examiner, whether you're a security event investigator. Everybody has a part to play, and we're going to talk a lot about how that goes, how you go about that, and how that is wrapped up into securing the best outcomes for the investigation, but more importantly, the best outcomes for Ingram Micro and the security of the data and our people and information.
Well, we're all looking forward to listening, and I understand congratulations are in order twice for you. You had a daughter that recently graduated from UCF and another one getting married in November.
I did. Thank you. It's been a busy year. Yes, retirement, graduation, and marriage. It's been a very busy year.
Wow. Well, congratulations to you. And yes, new job as well. And we're so glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Ingram Micro's B2B Tech Talk. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode and you want to continue the conversation online, use hashtag B2B Tech Talk.